Welcome everyone, this is Type V3 and today I'm taking a look at the Transformers Prime Arcee. Now this deluxe class figure is of course the first edition, and what that means is, actually I have no idea what the differences are going to be between this and its eventual mass release. So as of right now, it's just a Toys R Us exclusive. But enough about that, let's get on to the figure. Taking the form of a sport bike, Arcee is definitely one striking motorcycle. However, because its design is mostly comprised of harsh and jagged angles, it's definitely one design you'll either love or hate. I personally love it. Its cool blue paint scheme is definitely looking awesome, and I love the silver accents. I even like the nice little pinstriping on the tires. Now, like all transforming motorcycles, Arcee also comes with a kickstand right here. It's small, doesn't really hide too discreetly, but it's functional and that's what's important. Arcee also comes with these blades that are used as weapons in robot mode, but for the motorcycle, it actually can just peg in through these two peg holes and on the blade itself, and just adds a bit more bulk to the motorcycle itself to give it this sort of bigger look. For me personally, it's not a look I enjoy. I don't like the fact that, for the most part, it covers up the bottom half of the bike and it leaves this area here a bit open. And when it comes to motorcycles, I love seeing the huge rear wheel, and I don't like how this obscures it. However, what you can do, and this is what I like to have mine displayed as, is you take the reverse one and you peg it on backwards. This way, I think it looks a bit better. It seems to follow the lines of the bike a bit more, and I get to see more of that rear wheel. It doesn't look too much like a heavyset snowmobile anymore. The overall design and proportions of Arcee are fantastic. I really can't fault it anywhere. In my hands, it feels like a large figure. However, there is one strange thing, and that's when you compare it to other recently released motorcycles. Looking here against Junkeep, you can tell that Arcee is a little bit smaller. In fact, Arcee is more like a toddler's plaything when compared with him. And sure, you can probably argue that yeah, Arcee is a little bit wider, but honestly, it isn't a whole much wider. If anything, it's just more proof that Hasbro is reducing the size of their Transformers. But enough about business practices. We have ourselves a Transformer, so let's transform. One of the first things you'll notice when transforming Arcee is just how compressed this figure actually is. Absolutely no space is wasted when making this figure. There are many parts that are very complicated, like the feet of Arcee, that you'll just have to take slow for the first time around, especially finding the grooves that tab into place to keep the wheel well locked. However, the most difficult part of the transformation dealt with the front assembly of the bike. Getting the headlights around the windshield and then down into the chest area proved to be a little bit difficult, but you will eventually find your groove with it. In the end, you end up with a transformer that's absolutely stunning. The biggest strength of Arcee's robot mode is her silhouette. It manages to look feminine yet not weak or frail. It's just beautiful. The head sculpt is also great as well. It could use a little bit more detail, but for the most part it's great, and the light piping is a nice added touch. When it comes to articulation, Arcee has all the universal joints you'd expect, like ball-jointed limbs, a waist swivel, and a head on a ball joint. The interesting ones here are the double-jointed elbow and the hinged wrist, which is very interesting. There is no foot or heel articulation, but that's okay. It's quite fine as it is. But her arms are specifically really cool because they can actually just wrap around her body like it's not an issue and give her some sort of crossing arms poses. And those are really, really cool. The one thing I will say is that every time you do move her arms, though, these kind of get in the way, as well as her chest area. It keeps kind of moving around every time you move her arm. Also, these feet, uh, they're kind of really, really tiny, and on their own, they actually do not provide enough support. However, together with both feet on the floor, she's actually really, really stable, and you can get some really cool bent leg positions and not have to worry about her falling over because together they work really well. It's just when they're on their own, she won't be able to stand. Like, for example, if she did like a kick, she couldn't hold that because that foot just does not hold anything. Another thing I will mention is that even though the proportions on this Arcee are great, there is one very, very, very annoying thing if you are looking for absolute screen accuracy, and that is these bits here. You see, on the show, Arcee doesn't have anything on her shoulders. What she has, in fact, are wings that protrude out of her back that stay in place. And if you're like me and you need that absolute screen accuracy, this is going to bug you. I absolutely hate how they're pinned there. Sure, you can leave them sort of pinned up so that they kind of resemble the wings that she has on TV, but it's not quite there. And the other thing too is they're limited by the movement of her shoulder. So if you put her arm up, they automatically fall down and they can't retain that high position. So it's a little really annoying thing for me, but it's not absolutely a deal breaker. Now, as mentioned before, Arcee does come with weapons, these bladed things, and they pretty much just peg onto her forearm like so. And I'm only going to put on one here for you now, but you can tell these are incredibly oversized, and I've been seeing a lot of hate for these, and I can see why. They're just way too big for her body. I mean, she does have a very petite figure, and these blades just seem way too large. What I would have liked is just a blade that would be the length of her forearm, and that would have been nice, but these are incredibly huge and totally distracting, and for me, I kind of leave them aside because I think that the figure looks very good without them, but if you want them, they are there. One nice little surprise Arcee has is her size. Even though her vehicle mode was small, in full robot mode she's equally as tall as any other Deluxe figure. She's even taller than Prime Bumblebee, which is kind of funny considering she should only be up to his chest if you are looking for scale. In fact, the only Prime toy I have that even comes closer in terms of height is Megatron, which is kind of a funny thing. Her excellent articulation makes for some awesome ninja-like poses, and if you work them correctly, those blades can end up looking pretty cool sometimes. Or you could just leave them off. Of course, the biggest strength again is still her feminine frame because it's just so different. It's something we rarely get to see in Transformers, and that adds a lot of charm to this figure, and that's something worth considering. So what's the final verdict on Transformers Prime Arcee? Well, to be honest, for all its little problems, I can easily overlook them because this absolutely captures the character of Arcee, and I absolutely love it. And maybe I'm a little bit biased because Arcee is my favorite character on the show, but this really is a good figure. My favorite definitely of all the Transformers Prime figures so far, and definitely one that I think you should look into even if you are just remotely interested in it. It's definitely one of the better motorcycle vehicles we've had out there, and definitely one of the best deluxes on the market right now. So there you have it, go and buy it. This has been Type V3, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.